Welcome to MH Math Facts. In our video today, we're going to be talking about consecutive integer problems. So here's our problem that we're going to work on. The sum of three consecutive odd integers is negative 111. What are the three consecutive odd integers? So I guess the first thing we should talk about is what is an integer? An integer is basically a number that you'd count with, so like 1, 2, 3, 4, but also including negative numbers and also 0. So in our answer that we get, we shouldn't get any decimals, we shouldn't get any fractions because we're looking for an integer. And then that brings up the question, what is an odd integer? Basically, think of any odd number, so 3, that's a simple odd number. And then consecutive odd integers are the integers next to it that are also odd. So like 5 would be a consecutive integer, and then 7 would be consecutive to 5. Now, since we're going to want to write an equation, let's try and think of a way that we could write consecutive odd integers using variables. And so let's just choose one of these to be some variable. Let's let 3 be n. And then how would we get from 3 to 5? Well, we just add 2. So 5 is just n plus 2. And then doing a similar process, we get that 7 is n plus 2 plus 2, since 7 is 5 plus 2. We can simplify that to be n plus 4. So anytime we have an odd integers problem like this, we can use these same variables to represent those consecutive odd integers. And we can actually use those same ones if we're looking at even integers as well. Well, consecutive even integers. Okay, so now that we have this, let's look at it in context of the problem. So we're looking for three consecutive odd integers where their sum is negative 111. And so sum means that we're adding them. So we're going to add these three numbers together. So n plus n plus 2 plus n plus 4 is going to be equal to negative 111. Now we have an equation that won't be too tricky to solve. So we can combine like terms. 3n plus 6 equals negative 111. We can subtract 6 from both sides. And I'm going to move over to this side over here. We get 3n equals negative 117. You can divide by 3. And I don't know about you, but I don't know what negative 117 divided by 3 is off the top of my head, so I'm just going to do a little division in the corner here. And so 3 goes into 11 3 times, minus 9, we get 2, 7. 3 goes into 27 9 times. Oh, it's not going to let me write that. That's fine. There we go. Minus 27. Okay, so we get n equals negative 39. All right, we have one of our integers. I'm just going to cross these out so we don't get confused. That was just to kind of give us an example of what we're looking for. So n is negative 39. So that means n plus 2 is going to be negative 39 plus 2, which is just negative 37. And then n plus 4 is going to be negative 35. And so those are our solutions right there. Now, it's always a good idea to check your work. And so what we can do is we can just take our three integers that we found, add them together, and see if we get negative 111. So we had negative 39 plus negative 37 plus negative 35. I don't know that yet, so I'm going to put a question mark. So 39, 37, 35. I'm just going to add them up like this. I think it's a little easier to see that way. 9 plus 7 is 16, plus 5 is 21. And then 2 plus 3 is 5, plus 3 is 8, plus 3 is 11. So that checks out, and we did it correctly. Way to go. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments.